Hi, my name is Erin McDermott. I'm Director of Optical Engineering at SpireStarter.com, and today I want to tell you about what I'm looking for when someone comes to me with a hardware system that has optics in it and it's broken, so they need some debugging. First of all, do you even know that you should be going to an optical engineer to help you figure this out? Is a gold star for you. Not many people even know what optical engineering is, so you're already on the right path. Good job. Thing number one that I want from you is just kind of a basic overview of how your system is at least supposed to work. And every hardware product has a story, right? So if you could fill me in on kind of the bigger events in that story and how you got to where you are today, that's also really helpful. This doesn't need to be like any sort of formal report or even like gorgeous PowerPoint presentation. It's fine, and actually I kind of prefer to just sit down with you and talk through where you're at and where you came from. It's great to have, diagrams if I can see the thing in person, if I happen to be doing the preliminary consult with you at the office. Of course, it's great to see the physical things that you've been playing with. But again, just whatever you need to kind of describe where you're at and what you'd like from your system. Okay, now thing number two is where things kind of get hairy. What I'm looking for is an example or an illustration of your problem. I am not looking for you to tell me what your problem is, right? I'm not looking for you to tell me the cause of your problem. That is why you're coming to Spire Starter to begin with. Most of the time, when a client comes to me and they think they already know what the issue is, it's almost never that issue. So instead of just saying, it's this, fix this thing, show me the problem. Show me an example of something that's good, where an example of the system working well, even if it's not in your design at the moment. Something from the past that can show me what you're expecting, where you know everything would be running smoothly, right? Show me an example of good, and then show me an example of bad. I want to see if this is an imaging system. I want to see the image that sucks, right? Then I want to be able to compare that to what you're calling good. That's imperative. That's one of the first things that I need to really understand what's going on and to start to brainstorm different areas that we could look at to analyze. Now, if you have theories of what the problem could be caused by, I of course want to hear them. But what I want to dissuade you from doing is having your head set on it being a certain cause and then not being able to expand your view to think, oh, it could be caused by other things. Because really, I've done so much debugging in my career. Even us optical engineers, we get surprised when we find out what the root cause actually is. Surprisingly, a lot of the times it won't even be the optics. That's the issue. So yeah, anyway, that's thing number two. Example of something good, example of something bad, and so that I can see what you're expecting and what is exemplary of the problem itself. On to thing number three that I'm looking for when you have a bug in your optical system, or you think you do. So I don't need this up front, but eventually, just so you know, I'm going to be looking for all the ways to describe your system and the components that you have available. I'm going to want all the data sheets and white papers you have available. There should be enough information in all the data that I receive that someone could rebuild the system from scratch. Now, at this point, I've already signed an NDA, so don't worry about me taking it somewhere else and trying to make your thing. Like, that's not gonna happen. But if you don't have all of the parameters of your system so that you could hand that off to someone else and they could remake that system, then that's a huge problem to begin with in your company. You need to have everything fully documented. And oftentimes, companies use things that are off the shelf or from a vendor who hasn't disclosed fully all of the components or the thresholds or the materials for the different components they're using. From my perspective, it's very difficult to go forward from that and build an optical simulation that's very accurate, because the more information that's missing, the more guessing that we have to do. But from your perspective, you should really have that data on hand, because if any of your suppliers disappear overnight, or if a part is discontinued, that's a huge problem, and you're going to need to find backups to that, and you don't have a fully described component. That's a huge hole that you should patch up as soon as you can. So again, back to my perspective, I don't need all of it up front, but some of it you can probably look at and realize that there are some holes in the data that you have, and start getting that from your supplier, because that could take weeks or months, so it's better to start the process as soon as you can. Even if you don't end up working with Spire Starter going forward, you still should have that information. So kick it off as soon as possible. If you still have gaps in your data when you're coming to me to describe your system, that's fine. We can get started with what you have. And if you hear back from your suppliers that they're not going to give you some information about a component, or they're not able to, that's okay too. Let us know. A lot of times we can work with another lab to have it measured if need be. If you have any questions on any of this, or want to schedule your own free preliminary consultation, get in touch with us at spirestarter.com.